plane bending I just think of as folding a figure eight or stretching a figure eight. Basically, you just take your normal weave and notice where your cross point is, and your cross point is the mirror. So you can spread out from the cross point or fold in from the cross point. And so we kind of get, if we fold it enough to where it's a 90-degree angle, our cross point starts to look like an L. From above, this weave would look like an L because I'm stretching it at that 90-degree angle. I would have an L. And if we consider that, then we could say, well, if we took that whole shape of the figure eight forming an L, we could rotate it onto its side, and then you get something that looks like this, a figure eight that from the front looks like an L, right? That is the basic plane bend, in my opinion, a folded figure eight or something like that. All the implications of that plane bend are pretty cool. Let's just look at a single circle and all the different ways we can bend it. From this circle, I can access any of the major timing and direction combinations, because if I want to go, let's say, forward in Hall plane, when the circle is coming towards me on this side, I simply bend it up. Now I'm in forward on the hall, facing down a hallway, right? Back to this one. I want to go reverse down the hallway, I just bend it up on the other side. Now I'm in reverse facing down the hallway. Same circle. Let's say I want to have the poi rotating to my left on a wall plane. As soon as I get to this point here, where the poi is closest to me, I can bend it up this way and back into that circle. Say I want it to go right, I wait for the poi to be on that far side and bend it up there. Okay. Now you notice that when I try to do this one, it's a little awkward, kind of my inside plane here. Another way I can access that same direction is instead of going here and bending up, I can go to that opposite side and bend down. And now I'm going that way in my wall plane. You can add more resolution to this, you know, and so you can go from here, let's say, and I want to bend forward or reverse. But then you can also start doing things like at this point I can take it and bend it into a diagonal back in, or I can bend it into an upward diagonal on this side, back in, or on this side I can do a downward diagonal, back in, or on this side an upward diagonal, like that. So you can start accessing all sorts of crazy shapes, like a cool kind of flower idea would be two L's, like that, or like bend out to an L, bend up to an L, bend out to an L, bend down to an L. Or you could do bends laterally, so you can do like a bend, 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 bend. Or you could do a start at 90 degrees and do bends at 90 degrees to each other, like that. All sorts of variations. You can also take those L's and realize that in an atomic, they're meeting in an L. So you can take those L's and just go and bend them like this. And when you cross the poi, that actually starts to have kind of a neat look. Like that. And so there's just some variations you can do. If you're spinning in box atomics, those bends are also good for going from inside the box to outside the box. That opens up a whole range of possibilities. So plane bending is in itself pretty cool. Another thing you can do with it is like, I call it stacking figure eights. I don't know what you would want to call it, but you can imagine like a figure eight goes from one lobe, and then the other one lobe, ball, corner, edge, head of the snowman, whatever. 1, 2, right? A diagonal figure eight. So you could be going boom, boom, like this. Well, once I'm here, what's to stop me from creating a figure eight on this side? See what I'm saying? And then once I'm here, what's to stop me from creating a diagonal figure eight downward on this way? See, and then once I'm here, I might as well go. So you can come up with shapes of figure eights that are kind of like linked up. And that has side appeal too, because it's actually a 3D shape, because I'm bending the plane. See what I mean? And so you can get pretty intricate with that, like a 5-pointed star. If you do one here, bounce, skip one on this wall, skip one on this wall, come down, and then you just keep skipping one, and you can get into this 2-iteration 5-point flower that is pretty strange, but it's cool. Something like that. Those are stacked figure eights, stacking it in 5 points. Okay. Another thing is like Arashi style stars. I just think of that as, here's your L, right? Your 90-degree L. Just the figure eight is facing this way. Your L is up like that. What we're doing is we're collapsing that 90-degree L into like a 57 degrees or 74 degrees. I don't really remember. But if you just make your bend a little sharper in that fold, then you can stack it in a way that it bounces across 5 points of the sphere before coming back to its original point. And you get those star shapes, and you can extend those with the cat-eye factor or whatever. But that's all just those plane bends, folded figure eights every time. So that's pretty interesting. You can start getting into the idea of odd number ones require 2 iterations, making them even, which means they'll loop back on themselves and start over. So you can think of this as a triangle, but you notice I'm moving in reverse now. Move through the triangle one more time, and back and forward. So if you think about this as a 6-pointed shape, then 2 triangles stacked on top of each other, then you get a loopable shape. But if you just think of it as 1 triangle, then you end up in reverse, which is cool on its own because you can use it to switch between timing and direction that way.